In the first test we are going to pull a 10 kg wooden log across the grass, which means that it has a lot of resistance, therefore a lot of torque will be needed. In the tracks comparison video I had to stop a pulling test because a rope was getting torn apart. So this time I found a stronger one, which should be able to bear the load. The brake that has just fallen is just a weight on top to increase the traction of the tracks. I turned it on for just a small amount of time because I didn't want to break those motors or gearboxes. And as you can see, the faster gearbox doesn't have enough torque to start. The start needs the most torque, and after the start you just need to maintain speed. This is the exactly same scenario but with a slower gearbox. This one has a 3.5 times larger torque, so there should be some difference. But it turns out we have enough torque, but not enough traction. However, we can still see some minor movement, but the tracks are just spinning in place. So let's change them to the off-road ones. In fact, they have a lot more traction. If you wanna see the difference between normal and off-road tracks, there is a link to that video in the description. This combo is really getting it. It has no problem pulling the weight. To me it looks like a forest tractor pulling trees out of the forest. Well, we need a bit more weight in the front, but otherwise it's very good. Next up is the speed contest. Again, starting with the faster gearbox, it's harder to control and more sensitive. It's really hard to keep it moving in a straight line while maintaining fast speed. The average speed is about 10 km an hour. Maybe an even faster gearbox could be nice, like 2 times faster, and that would be around 20 km an hour. Anyway, let's have a look at the slower one. From the start you can see that it's easier to control and moving in a straight line is also quite easy. The maximum speed, however, is quite boring, at 3.5 km an hour. The next topic is the slowest speed. And why is this even an important aspect? Well, if you want to make precise movement or turn exactly 90 degrees, it's important to go slow and steady. As you can see, on the slower gearbox, it gently launches and can easily go slowly. Now the turning on place is the tricky part, because you need a lot of torque at slow speed, which is where the slower gearbox shines. The faster gearbox is not handling it as well as the slower one, and here is why in a not simple way. You need a certain amount of torque to start moving. To create that torque using the slower gearbox you need, let's say, an X power. To create that same exact torque, but with the faster gearbox you need 3.5 times as much power. When it's already moving it doesn't need that much torque, so most of the power gets transferred to speed. This transition can be seen with the faster gearbox, especially during turning. Power to the motor is increasing, but until it gains enough torque, it's just vibrating in place. But right after it gains enough torque, it accelerates and turns very quickly. Now this problem could be decreased by software in a way that after the start, it automatically lowers the power to the motor. But it needs to do this very carefully, not to lower it too much, because then it will just stop. However, this will require a lot of testing, because it will behave differently on each surface. The same goes for asphalt or concrete, but you don't need that much torque here, so the difference between them is not that great, although the difference in turning is still pretty visible. And here is an example of the faster gearbox being more fun. This one jumps pretty good, but again, an even faster gearbox would be better for this kind of job. Here is the preview from the first person. And unfortunately, right here on the landing, the camera holder got damaged. But I'm not surprised, because it had crash landed a few times before. The connectors that hold two 3D printed parts just broke off. So I made the whole thing more rigid and increased the thickness of walls by 1 millimeter. Now it's stronger and I hope it will survive some more damage next time. And after many attempts that resulted in a landing on a roof or flipping, it's all covered in a lot of mud, but fortunately no mud got inside. Let's go see the slower gearbox. It simply just doesn't have enough speed for any jumping, but it's still able to go across it without any problems. And that's pretty much all. Thank you for watching and bye bye.